It is impossible for a person to learn something they think they already know. It is impossible for a person to learn something they think they already know.
Yes.
Most people who study, read, attend classes are focused on knowing for knowing's sake. And here's your next quote: be a do-it-all, not a know-it-all. Last quote, and then I have some questions for you. Servant leadership trumps charismatic leadership. So take those three comments together. It's impossible to learn something you think you already know. Be a know-it-all, not a do-it-all. And be a servant leader, not a charismatic leader. And here's what I'm hearing. Always be learning based. Never get to a point where you think you know everything there is to know. That day will never come. You can learn something from everyone. Focus on serving others. Focus on what you can do in order to serve others versus how much you know. Now, here's a question for you. Completely switching topics. And I was in the group coaching group yesterday, being led by Michael Chilongo and John DiMartino, two of the best productivity coaches in all of Keller Williams. And they asked a question, and the question they asked was define the 20%. And I was a little bit surprised at how hard it was for agents that were in that room to answer this. And I'm standing in the back of the room thinking, how many times have I said this? And then I wondered, maybe they're just tuning me out. They don't like to listen to me anymore. They're not paying attention because they should really know this. So not a punitive conversation, not at all. If anything, if it was, it would be directed at me because it's my job to make sure that you guys know this. To find the 80-20 rule, just talk or put your digital hand up and I'll call on you. But somebody define the 80-20 rule. Larry, talk to me.
20% of your activities will generate 80% of your results.
Done. Perfectly done. Absolutely. Thank you. Now, Gary teaches us that there's 5 things that make up that 20%. What are those 5 things?
I'll try again. Lead generation, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, practice your scripts and dialogues, and follow up through a systematic process.
Okay, Clarissa, you if this was a test, I think you got an 85, so that's a B+. And I love you, and don't get mad at me, okay? And it's weird for me to talk to you and not be able to see you. I know you right where you're sitting, you're on that front row, and because the camera's not pointing at you, I can't see you. Guys, write it down. Holy cow, put this, get a, thank you, Aaron, for getting up and turning the camera. That's awesome. Now I can see. There you go. All right, now I feel like I'm in the room. Get a Sharpie marker and write this on your forearm. Do whatever you've got to do to be able to internalize this. Your 20% is lead generation. Go on appointments. Go on appointments with buyers and sellers. That's number 2. Number 3 is take listings. Holy cow, it's the most important thing we do. Number 4 is negotiate contracts. And number 5 is practice and role play your scripts. Lead generation, go on appointments with buyers and sellers, take seller listings, negotiate contracts, practice and role play your scripts. Those are the 5 things that make up your 20%. Those are the 5 things that lead to 80% of the results.
We got Aaron trying to write this down.
I'm trying to, keep uphold,
I love it. I love it. Lead generate. Lead generate, go on appointments with buyers and sellers. Take seller listings. Negotiate contracts. Practice and role play your scripts. Now think of it like this. It makes total sense, guys. Take practice and role play your scripts out of the conversation. Lead generation leads to what? It leads to appointments with buyers and sellers, which leads to what? It leads to seller listings, which leads to what? It leads to offers, which means you're negotiating contracts. Now, next time I'm in the room and somebody asks, what are the 5 things that make up your 20%? My expectation, and I have high expectations for all of you, you should be grateful for that. My expectation is that every single one of you would nail it. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my job description. Now, here's the next question. What's the 20% of your 20%? By the way, what's 20% of 5? Say it. 1. Is there a book written on this?
The one thing.
The one thing. Thank you. Okay. So what's the focus question in the one thing? Raise your digital hand if you know the answer to this question.
What's the one thing I can do? By doing such, will make everything else unnecessary.
Larissa, you're 99% of the way there. Good job. So what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing that I could do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? So let me ask all of you a question. Do I know this?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any doubt that I've internalized this?
Yes.
Am I the one out selling real estate or is it you? It doesn't do you any good that I know this. You can't take what I know and leverage it into more business for you. You've got to learn this. You know what? Maybe I'm nicer in person. Maybe that's it.
Is that why you came home today? No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Until you get clear on this point, you will be stuck in the muddy waters of mediocrity. Until you get clear on what your 20% is, until you get clear on what the 20% of your 20% is, you will be stuck in the muddy waters of mediocrity. Your one thing is lead generation. So here's the question. How do you master lead generation? You know, I'm going to come back to that. And I'm going to go to shift page 51 and 52. I want you to listen to what Gary says, because if you're sitting there thinking, John, so tired of you talking about this. I'm so tired of hearing about lead generation. I don't love lead generation. Holy cow, who does? You'd have to be out of your mind to love lead generation. If you're thinking that, listen to what Gary says, because I think you're going to see that you have some pretty good company on this. Let's face facts. Lead generation to find potential customers just might not be your favorite business subject. Middle of page 51, under move past your myths. If you're like most, It probably isn't why you got into real estate and isn't something that gets you excited to go to work every day. The truth, however, is that you actually got into two businesses. You got into the helping people with their real estate needs business, and you got into the lead generation business. The bottom line is that without motivated leads, there are no people to help. In other words, without lead generation, there is no one to work with. Your business is lead generation. Lead generation is your business. Bottom of the page, I must admit, this is Gary talking about how he felt. I must admit that I honestly didn't enjoy or fully embrace the lead generating part of our business at first. It wasn't until I realized that lead generation wasn't something I had to do and master in order to get to do the things I really enjoy doing that I actually, let me say that again. It wasn't until I realized that lead generation was something I had to do and master in order to get the things I really enjoyed doing that I actually buckled down and got serious about it. Middle of the page. I also thought I was going to be too busy. Another myth that stops us from getting into lead generation. And wouldn't have the time to lead generate. However, as I focused on doing it every day, I discovered it wasn't an issue of having time, but an issue of making time and protecting it. Then, intimidation set in. I believed I couldn't lead generate because I didn't know what to do or say and was afraid of making mistakes. However, as I consistently got after it, I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented. I saw that on top of being a transaction, knowledge, and service business, our industry is a script and dialogue skill-based business. I had to commit to getting onto the path of mastering these. I discovered that time on task over time was a simple secret that helped me become very good. All right, so let's go back to the question I asked just a few moments ago. How do we master lead generation? Hey, by the way, if you were listening, I gave you the answer. Talk to me. How do we master lead generation?
Scripts and role play.
Scripts and role play, write it down. That's part of it. Good job, Kim. What else?
By doing it.
By doing it. Shirley, go deeper.
Uh-oh.
All right, somebody else go deeper for Shirley.
I will, by making time and then protecting it.
Okay, by making time and protecting it, yes.
By going on the appointments, having the conversations with buyers and sellers.
Okay, and
By not being scared and just making the phone calls.
by not being scared and just making the calls. Thank you, Yvonne. Nice job. By the way, you're going to be afraid. So let's just change what you said just a little bit. By being afraid and doing it anyways. Because fear is not the absence, faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is moving forward in spite of feeling fear. Fear is real. Think of fear like this. It's a giant mass between you and where you want to go. It's a body of water. It's a lake. It's an ocean. And on the other side of that ocean is opportunity. And in order for you to get to the opportunity, you have to go through fear. You can't go over it, can't go around it, can't go under it. You have to go through it. Vicki.
I have this written down in my journal, and this is persist without exception. I'm on a journey, a path that is success is assured. I ignore what everyone else is doing and achieving. My life is about breaking my own limits and outgrowing myself to live my best life. I am not in a competition with anyone else but myself. I begin to fly when I let myself go and my self-limiting beliefs and allow my mind to rise to greater heights.
Wow. That was awesome. Well done, Vicky.
Well,
Very well
according
done.
to us, this is where we are.
All right, here's my answer, guys, and I'm going to give it to you in 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So my answer to how do we master lead generation is number 1, 3 to 4 hours of on-the-job practice every day. 3 to 4 hours of on-the-job practice every day. And that means every day you're actually in the activities of lead generation for 3 to 4 hours a day. Now, you work 250 days a year. That's 50 weeks times 5 days to 2 weeks vacation. And you are working a minimum of 3 hours a day on lead generation. 250 times 3, I believe, is 750. If I'm doing the math right, that's 750 hours that you will invest in lead generation over the next 12 months. If you practice anything for 750 hours a year, are you going to get better at it?
Absolutely.
Will you start to internalize it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Will you start the path to mastery?
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
the law of mastery says 10,000 hours. So what does that mean at 750 hours a year? You're approximately 12 years away from mastery. Now, does that mean that you have to wait 12 years to start seeing the benefits? Heck no, you'll start seeing the benefits next week. It's 3 to 4 hours of on-the-job practice every single day. Guys, I told you I gave you the answer. In the portion that I read to you today, Gary said time on task over time. Number 2, PDR to internalize the conversations of real estate. Practice, drill, and rehearse the conversations of real estate in order to internalize your scripts and dialogues. Number 3, track everything. Track how many calls you made, how many people you spoke to, how many leads you got. Remember, a lead is defined by you've captured their contact information, name, phone number, email address, mailing address. You've got a lead. How many dials did you make? How many doors did you knock on? How many people did you speak to? How many new leads did you get? How many appointments did you schedule? Track everything. And over time, what this is going to be able to do is you're going to be able to make adjustments, which leads to number 4, which is remove obstacles and make adjustments. So as you're tracking, you'll see what's working, what isn't working. You'll see what the obstacles are that are standing between you and where you want to go so that you can remove those obstacles, make adjustments in order to move closer to your goal. In other words, something as simple as an obstacle to me going out and knocking on doors is, I don't feel safe. Is that a real obstacle? Sure it is. How could you remove that obstacle? Get a buddy to go with you. So simple. Remove the obstacle. Good. Make an adjustment. Good. Now go forward. All right, talk to me. What'd you hear?
You have to lead generate for a minimum of 3 hours every day.
That, Kim, success is simple, right? And it's not easy. And everybody wants to find a complicated answer because we feel that sophistication, it has to be complicated, when in actuality, simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. And it comes down to something as simple as what Kim said, everybody, lead generate a minimum of 3 hours every single day. Block time in your calendar to lead generate a minimum of 3 hours every day. And then Gary says in shift, until that one thing is done, everything else is what?
A distraction.
It's a distraction. Who said that?
Clarissa.
Larissa, you're my new favorite. Until lead generation is done, everything else is a distraction. Larry, talk to us.
Just simple, and it's something you've always said, and I too, face your demons.
Mm.
Face your demons.
Yeah. You want to go deeper on that?
You know, I don't know, for me, you know, it's, you and I both have a background in sports, and there's a lot of things, guys are a lot bigger than us, a lot faster than us and that, but you know what, you go in there and you work hard, and all of a sudden you find that it pays off. And that's really what your whole theme is. Two things for the time I've been on this call is two things. One, it's face your demons, just put in the time. It's easy. You just need to do it. Just do it. And your second theme of your life is legacy. You know, what are you, and this is why you're doing what you're doing today and what you've been doing up there at that market center. You don't have to be doing what you're doing. You've made it, you know, you're successful in your own right. But what you're doing is creating a legacy of all these little John Dietzes running around, or versions of it, you know, sharing your knowledge, your experience with everybody else to hopefully stimulate them to accomplish more than what you've accomplished.
Thank you for that, Larry. Yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you. You know, something I told my son many, many years ago when he was playing football is heart beats talent every time. You may not be the most talented person in the room, but nobody can outwork you unless you let them outwork you. Nobody can work with more passion than you unless you let them work with more passion than you. Success is a choice. What could you achieve today if you had to? See, the biggest challenge to us moving from mediocrity to mastery is we don't have to. If you had to, you would. Now, if that's hitting too close, I'm sorry. And it's true. Every single one of you is capable of more than what you're doing. And you think you have time. I've learned recently, unfortunately, very hard way, that that's not true. You don't know how much time you have left.
Right.
Master this today. It's important. It's critically important. And next time somebody asks you, what are the 5 things that make up your 20%? Know the answer. It's lead generation. It's going on appointments with buyers and sellers. It's taking seller listings. It's negotiating contracts, and it's practicing and role playing your scripts. What are the 4 laws of the database? Build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way, service all the leads that come your way. Know this. It's your job to know this. It's your life that's going to change when you do know this and put all of these principles into play. It's not going to change my life. It's going to change your life. You guys still like me?
Yep.
No.
Always.
Absolutely.
No.
That was Aaron, everybody.
Of course.
Urano. Thank you. All right, for my,
Nope, we love you.
thank you for that. I appreciate that. For my Coral Springs family, yes, please practice and role play your scripts. You guys are in there. You don't need me to do this. You can do it without me. I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Time to get to work. What is work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17 conversations. If I have 17 conversations because it's close enough, or I'll make up the other 3 tomorrow, which I won't, you won't. I didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that I didn't get simply because I didn't have the conversation. Find somebody today that's thinking of selling their home. Meet with somebody today that is thinking of selling their home, and then follow up forever because you reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember that people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. When you follow up with people forever, you're creating emotional proximity, which simply means that when I get ready to sell my home, I'm going to hire the person who is closest to me. And when you follow up forever, you're creating an emotional proximity, and you're giving me an opportunity to make a new decision based on new information. And that new decision will be to hire you. All right, everybody, make it a great day.
Coach.
Thank
Here you go, my friend. Good seeing you, Boss Luxury.
Thank you so much, John. We love you.
I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Make it a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye.